Ugh, ads are such poop. Subscribe to Acast Plus now to skip ads and more for just $1 a month. Click the link in our show notes to learn how. And hey, we're on Patreon too. Your support helps cover the cost of running a podcast. For $2 a month, you can get early access to all our episodes ad-free, plus bonus episodes exclusive to Patreon subscribers only. Visit patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse to sign up now.
Strike!
Tell me something I don't know, Ump.
Well, unlike that nasty curveball, there aren't any surprises when you finance your next car with Carvana. You get real terms personalized for you right in your strike zone.
Really?
Steeride!
How am I supposed to focus when you're telling me about Carvana?
Well, Slugger, you gotta keep your eye on the ball. Just like you can keep an eye on your customized down and monthly car payments.
I can customize those?
He's out and on his way to finance his next car with Carvana.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today. We'll drive you happy at Carvana.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
The program is neither good nor bad. It's like a hammer. You can use it to build a house or break a skull.
Welcome to The Program, a sci-fi anthology set in a world in which money, state, and God became fused into a single entity called The Program.
Perhaps AI overtook us just like global warming did, with people bickering is it real or not right up until the water finally rose above their mouths.
Visit programaudioseries.com or find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband!
Wife!
Do you remember what happened last Friday?
I believe Job was going on about his friends who, needing to back off and stuff, and you suggested in the comments of the episode that he should just fart on their toothbrushes.
Actually, Job was not going off. His friend was.
Oh. Well, still,
so far,
Job should still fart on their toothbrushes.
Yeah, I did suggest that in the summary.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they kind of suck.
They
do.
I
was wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You just read my summary.
Your summary sucked.
I know. I was just
But I did like the farting on toothbrushes bit.
Well, I was like, damn, I don't remember what happened on Friday. And so I looked and I was like, I did a bad summary. I just realized that if I'm annoyed with the chapter, I should in no way whatsoever be responsible for writing the summary.
Right.
But yeah, it was Zophar was doing more of his you suck bullshit.
Yeah. Okay.
And, yeah. That's why Job should fart on his toothbrush.
Definitely should fart on his toothbrush. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
So that was Job chapter 20.
Sure as fuck was.
And today we're going to be getting into
Job chapter 21.
Let's go do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, Job chapter 21.
Okay.
Then Job replied, listen carefully to my fucking words. Let this be the fucking consolation you give me, assholes. Bear with me while I speak, and after I have spoken, go ahead and mock on.
Yeah, just keep, mocking.
Mocking.
You mockers.
You scoffing mocker. Oh, that was good. That was so good. You scoffing mocker. I mean, he's basically saying, can you shut the fuck up for just a minute, and then you can continue being an ass.
Right.
Is my complaint directed to a human being? Why should I not be impatient? Sorry, I had a hard time getting my words out. Look at me and be appalled. Clap your hand over your mouth. When I think about this, I'm terrified. Trembling seizes my body. Why?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I was
I didn't really.
I almost mumbled something, but then I'm like, whatever.
He's still going on.
Yeah.
It's still the same.
Right.
Except that I really did like where he's like, you can mock me in just a minute, but let me have my say. Again, for like the third time.
Yeah.
Why do the wicked live on, growing old and increasing in power? I mean, that question applies today.
Right.
They see their children established around them, their offspring before their eyes. Their homes are safe and free from fear. The rod of God is not on them.
Right.
I mean,
that's a valid question.
A valid question. Like, did you know Nepo baby was like one of the newest words added to the dictionary?
Nepo baby?
Nepo baby.
The fuck is that?
Nepotism.
Yeah, I know what nepotism is.
A Nepo baby is a person, like, right now it is being applied specifically to children of celebrities who are specifically known to be celebrities purely based on who their parents are.
Got it. Okay.
So, for example, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith's children, what's their names? Yeah, I forgot their names.
Right.
But anyway, they're famous.
Right.
And
they're famous because
they're Nepo babies.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So this question is ages old.
Yeah.
You know?
No, definitely.
Their bulls never fail to breed. Their cows calve and do not miscarry. They send forth their children as a flock. Their little ones dance about.
Sounds like God's slacking here. Why is he letting these people thrive? And
it's not just why do bad things happen to good people, but why do bad people thrive?
Right.
That's two separate questions, and he's asked the other one, now he's asking this one.
Right. No, I mean, he's, like we said before, Job is asking the right questions, good questions.
Yeah.
You know?
Fair questions.
Right.
They sing to the music of timbrel and lyre. They make merry to the sound of the pipe. They spend their years in prosperity and go down to the grave in peace. Yet they say to God, leave us alone. We have no desire to know your ways. Who is the Almighty that we should serve him? What would we gain by praying to him?
Right.
But their prosperity is not in their own hands, so I stand aloof from the plans of the wicked. Yet how often is the lamp of the wicked snuffed out? How often does calamity come upon them? The fate God allots in his anger.
Apparently not very often.
Not often enough, I can tell you that.
Right.
Karma needs to step up.
Right? Yeah.
How often are they like straw before the wind? Like chaff? Chaff swept away by a gale. A Dorothy gale?
Sure.
It is said, God stores up the punishment of the wicked for their children. Let him repay the wicked so that they themselves will experience it. Let their own eyes see their destruction.
I've always thought that was bullshit. Like, you know how God does punish like the 10 generations past or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just like, it's a reason to excuse bad people that are alive.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to track whether the kids have a bad time or not.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to be dead that would have cared.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what you say. You're just like, well, God's going to get them down the road.
Yeah, God will get them eventually.
You know, like it's a way to push it off. And I don't understand. Like, this is another problem I have with religion is that you're living your life in fear of this entity for what you are doing today, as opposed to just living your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like why? Obviously, the wicked people don't give a fuck.
Right.
So why should you give a fuck? Doesn't mean you have to be wicked, but like, why should you live in fear of something that is not even punishing the wicked people?
That's true. That is a good question. Like, just be the best you can be, just for the reason of being good.
Right.
Like, without reward and without fear of punishment.
Yeah.
Just you do you and don't bug other people.
When you realize that morality is on you, it's a whole different ballgame.
It really is. It forces you to like really question why you do the things you do.
Right.
And to be responsible for them.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's you have to, I don't know. And the funny thing is that most people I shouldn't caveat that with, but there's a lot of people that are not religious that I think are some of the best people on the planet. Mm-hmm. You know, so I have there's no comparison. Like, some of the worst people I know are religious.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, to me, it's almost, I know more people that are good that aren't religious versus people that are religious.
Yeah.
And
same.
it's crazy.
Same. I think because people who are religious can excuse their bad behavior.
Right.
And somehow they think that they're not supposed to be held to a higher standard. And I'm like, yo, I'm not the one walking around praising God.
Right.
You are. You put on that shiny hat with the blinky lights,
Yeah.
walking around talking about it. So you don't get to do that and not hold yourself to a higher standard.
Yeah.
By putting on that fucking hat, you are automatically claiming that you live to a higher standard. Therefore, you better hold yourself to a higher standard.
Right.
Because I sure as fuck am.
Right.
I am holding you to a higher standard.
Yeah.
And therefore, when you go forth and rape a child, the action itself is not worse than an atheist raping a child, but it feels worse because you promised you wouldn't.
Right.
The atheist never did. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm just like, you have the added hypocrisy on top of the crime itself.
Sure.
The crime itself is heinous, horrible, rotten, and bad. But then on top of that, you've got this additional emotional.
Well, it's like the hang up with the trans community right now,
Mhm.
right? They're saying that they're hurting children, and I'm like, okay, who would you like? The trope is, who would you rather have in the room with your kid, a priest or a trans person?
A trans person, hands down.
Right? Yeah.
I mean,
like, there's no question about that.
yeah. Duh.
So, like, whatever.
I mean, I'm not about priests right now. But,
Yeah, no. Not many are. Well, I mean, not many in our community are, for sure.
Right? Okay, so anyway, we interrupted them in Job in
Yeah,
the middle of
sorry.
a sentence.
Sorry.
Let their own eyes see their destruction. Let them drink the cup of the wrath of the Almighty. For what do they care about the families they leave behind when their allotted months come to an end? Can anyone teach knowledge to God since he judges even the highest? Oh, shit. He's like, can somebody slip a Post-it note on dude's desk?
Right, yeah. No, I mean, it doesn't make any sense why you would punish kids.
Yeah.
It never made any sense.
Nope. One person dies in full vigor, completely secure and at ease, well-nourished in body, bones rich with marrow. Another dies in bitterness of soul, never having enjoyed anything good. Side by side they lie in the dust, and worms cover them both. I know full well what you are thinking, the schemes by which you would wrong me. You say, where now is the house of the great, the tents where the wicked lived? Have you never questioned those who travel? Have you paid no regard to their accounts? That the wicked are spared from the day of calamity, that they are delivered from the day of wrath. Who denounces their conduct to their face? Who repays them for what they have done?
Right?
They are carried to the grave, and watch is kept over their tomb. That's true. The soil in the valley is sweet to them. Everyone follows after them, and a countless throng goes before them. So how can you console me with your nonsense? Nothing is left of your answers but falsehood. The end.
Wow. Yeah.
He
No,
is
I mean, he's laying it
spitting
on.
facts.
Yeah. No, I mean,
You know what I
I-
appreciated about this? This was all anger and going off, and this was not wallowing.
right.
Not
I
that
agree.
he doesn't have the right to wallow.
Yeah. No, and I didn't feel a lot of need to comment. He was kind of handling my job for me.
Yeah.
I'm
This
like,
was a good
damn,
chapter.
dude, you're laying it on thick here, Joe.
This was a real good chapter.
I liked it. Yeah.
He was like, somebody needs to say something because there's a lot of evil in the world. Y'all are worried
Right.
about me, and I haven't done anything when you know goddamn good and well that guy over there did.
No,
I
it's
don't
just-
see you over there in his face.
I find this, like, I feel like, you know, believers need to read this book.
Yeah.
Like, it's got a lot of very
Good questions.
questions in it,
Mm-hmm.
and things that people should be thinking about if
Mhm.
you are going to be religious. So,
Yeah.
and more than just like the answers that your pastor gives you, you should think about this for yourself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I really appreciate Job right now.
So do I.
I'm sure it's going to turn around and you know, we're going to come back
Yeah.
to God and the whole 9 yards there.
Sure.
But obviously we're in the Bible, so that's expected. But the questions he's asking are just amazing.
They
So,
really are, considering that they're in the Bible.
Right.
Is what makes them amazing.
Yeah, no, it's really cool.
Context is everything.
Yep. So that was Job chapter 21.
Sure as fuck was.
And we will be back tomorrow with
Job chapter 22.
We'll see you guys then.
Bye. Husband!
Wife!
Do you remember what happened yesterday?
Job was asking some really good questions.
He was tight.
Tight?
He was on fire.
On fire?
His questions slap.
I guess they did. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, he asked questions I want to ask. You know,
Sick.
Oh my God.
What?
Nothing.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's just going on about, you know, why do these shitty people get away with being shitty? And why am I being, like, you guys are on me, like, flies on shit with this, you know.
Accusations of bad doing.
Right, but yet, these people over there, you know who they are.
And you know what they did done.
Right? Mm-hmm. They're getting away with it all. So what the fuck, man?
Yeah, what the fuck? I think that basically is his entire message. Every chapter that he's spoken. He's basically like, what the fuck?
God's going to punish their kids and he kills all 10 of mine? Fuck you, God.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Because why? Because God's a dick.
Right.
Just in case. Because we haven't said it recently.
Enough. Yeah. No, we left that one slide a lot.
Yeah. Well,
God's
a dick.
Yeah, really. Yeah, so that was Job chapter 21.
Sure as fuck was.
And today we're going to be reading
Job chapter 22.
Let's do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, Job chapter 22.
Okay.
Then
it's
every single one of these chapters has started like
really
that.
It really has.
And you know, because I keep going then.
And I go then.
Yeah. Eliphaz. He's talking now. Okay. This is his chapter.
Got it.
Eliphaz the Temanite, just in case.
Sure, yeah.
I don't want you to confuse him with any other Eliphaz.
Confuse him with a something.
Right?
Yeah.
He's not the Shuhite one.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, "Can a man be of benefit to God? I mean, the way you talk, no. We're just garbage, trash, rotten, dumpster
why would
fire
God
people.
Produce something that wouldn't be a benefit, though?
Have you ever made something that's not useful?
Yeah, but wouldn't you, get rid of it?
I mean, like poop.
I guess he has gotten rid of humanity a couple of times.
I have got rid of poop.
Yeah.
I made it and I got rid of it.
But it's also useful. You can use it as fertilizer.
That's true. Okay, so even that isn't. I'm trying to think of something. Oh, you know what? Sometimes I draw things that are not good.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and then I get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because they're not useful.
Yeah.
You drew a thing once and it was so good and it's the only good thing you ever drew.
It's not that good.
It was really good, comparatively speaking.
You talking about my Godzilla sketch?
Yes.
That was. I was pretty impressed with that.
That was amazing.
I gotta be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just the story behind this, my kid and I, they're a pretty good artist.
They are.
And so we decided to have a sketching contest.
Mm-hmm.
And so we sat down and sketched this moving Godzilla statue thing that we've had for ever.
It's like an action figure, but you press it and it roars.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I will. Do we have the picture somewhere handy?
Not at this moment.
Shit.
Yeah.
All right.
It's packed away somewhere because we're still unpacking.
Well, I'll take a picture of the Godzilla and I'll put it up on our Patreon page.
Yeah.
And then, so I sketched this thing,
mm-hmm.
and it's not the best in the world, but it was pretty damn good.
It was so impressive, and the kid was so mad because yours turned out so good, and theirs not so much.
Not so much.
Not as much.
I don't think they're much of a sketcher. They're more of a abstract artist.
They do a lot of digital art, and
if it's not dragons, then what are you doing?
They create characters too,
right? Yeah,
and just sketching like a still life is basically what you did.
Yeah.
And that's not their forte.
Yeah.
But
that
was your forte that day.
Yeah. When we find the picture, it's going to be right next to the Godzilla thing because it's they're a pair now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They go together.
They do.
I was really excited when I pulled that out of the bag today. I was like, oh, there he is. Oh, it's so cute. And we hung a little necklace around his neck that says the word love.
Right.
Because that's appropriate.
Yeah.
Because he growls.
When the battery still worked, it used to. Yeah. Well, when the battery worked, it growled.
Yeah.
The battery no longer works.
No, and it doesn't even half work. When the battery's going out and it goes.
Yeah, for a while it was very pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't even do that anymore.
Right. It's done. Completely done.
Oh, and the building, some of the windows in the building light up.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Right, it is.
It's a mood.
But you used to annoy the piss out of me with that thing.
Oh, I did. because
so bad.
Because it's such a fun toy. It's a noise toy, and it's like a decor item.
Yeah.
And you hated it.
Yeah.
But now you love it.
I'm not gonna go.
It's grown on you.
Yeah, sure.
It's one of those affectionate hatreds.
It shall never leave our house. So
ever.
That much I can admit.
But it does need a new battery.
No, it doesn't.
Here's the thing: you have to, those tiny screws.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those.
You know that I will never be the one that replaces that battery, right?
But don't you want to show all of our listeners?
Nope.
Yes.
If that battery is going to get replaced, it's going to be you.
Well, I need a teeny tiny itty bitty screwdriver.
You should ask our listeners.
Oh my God.
Have them send you a teeny tiny itty bitty screwdriver.
You have one somewhere, don't you?
I know, but I'm not going to get it out for you either.
But I know where the toolbox is.
You do.
Yeah. Is it in there?
It might be.
Is it?
Possibly.
Is it?
Have you gotten into my toolbox anytime recently?
No, because it's such a mess. I hate your fucking toolbox. Okay, we are way off topic here.
Way off topic.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so
Who's talking? Is it Eliphaz?
Eliphaz. Yeah, he's saying some bullshit over here about is anybody worth anything to God?
Right.
Can even a wise person benefit him? Nah.
I mean, I don't know.
He's God, right? He knows everything. What can we offer?
But there's been some wise men in the Bible that have talked to him, and he's changed his mind even.
But if you ask, does God change his mind? Everybody answers no.
Right, except for that one time when you pointed out. So,
what pleasure would it give the Almighty if you were righteous? What would he gain if your ways were blameless? Is it for your piety that he rebukes you and brings charges against you? Oh my God, we're having the same fucking conversation. You guys are talking about the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Why are we still having this argument?
Right.
You're still a shitty friend. The end.
Definitely.
He continues, is not your wickedness great? Are not your sins endless?
I mean, he said no a multitude of times now.
Are you thick?
Right? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Are you dense?
My words getting through to you?
Are you obtuse? Are you stupid? Is your brain out of your head?
Yeah.
Are you dead?
Incapable of learning.
Are you just stupid? I can't even. Use that one. I know, but
yeah. Right. Dude's dumb. We got it. Yeah.
Yes. You demanded security from your relatives for no reason. You stripped people of their clothing, leaving them naked. You gave no water to the weary, and you withheld food from the hungry.
Can you point to actual examples, dude?
Right? What the fuck are you even talking about?
And moreover, if he was doing these things and you guys were friends with him, why didn't you call him out when he was doing these things? No
shit, right?
I'm just saying.
That's your job as a friend. If he's
so awful, why don't you call him out then instead of now?
Right.
Because you don't actually know what he's done or hasn't done.
You're making shit up. That's what. You withheld food from the hungry, though you were a powerful man owning land, an honored man living on it. And you sent widows away empty-handed and broke the strength of the fatherless. That is why snares are all around you, why sudden peril terrifies you, why it is so dark you cannot see, and why a flood of water covers you. He is just making up sins.
I know.
He's just you cheated on a test. You stole a peppermint patty.
Right.
You cut off the cat's whiskers. You did so many horrible things. And I'm just using my imagination. It's bro, did you do some of these things?
Right.
You just going on and on.
That's too much.
Right? Is not God in the heights of heaven? I don't know. Is he?
Who knows? I mean, sometimes he's sitting on the ark, I think.
E.T. phone home. I didn't ask.
Right.
Because he's everywhere and nowhere and all the where.
Sometimes he's a pillar of smoke, too.
And in a burning bush. And,
yeah.
And, he's also in our hearts.
Sometimes he's walking through the Garden of Eden.
And sometimes
he's making noises.
Sometimes he's his own son.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's...
You just never know where that dude's going to pop up.
He's everywhere.
He's all over the place.
He's not doing a very good job of keeping up, though.
No, he's not.
He's everywhere, but really, though, is he?
No. He's everywhere, but he's actually nowhere.
Right.
Because he's nothing.
So, yeah. And see how lofty are the highest stars, yet you say, what does God know? Does he judge through such darkness? thick clouds veil him, so he does not see us as he goes about in the vaulted heavens.
That's what it is. It's the thick clouds that he can't. That's why he can't tell what people are doing. So it's the thick clouds.
Is it the glory clouds?
I don't know. I would say
the
it's
heavenly glory clouds.
But wouldn't you think that God would? I mean, with all his power, he'd be able to see through thick clouds.
I would think that, but what the hell do I know? I'm a mere human who's trying to make sense of this bullshit.
I would think that if you've got a, all-powerful being, that thick clouds wouldn't stop them.
That's what I would think. But some of these people, they get like real caught up on alien life forms, and I'm like, so God is only Earth God?
So what I gather from this, though, is that what you need to defeat God is a fog machine and iron, tire iron. Yeah, because iron.
Yeah,
and thick clouds.
And probably
you can probably win that battle.
Probably if you put some salt around it too, just for good measure. Will you keep to the old path that the wicked have trod? He's not wicked, for fuck's sake. They were carried off before their time, their foundations washed away by a flood. Yeah, like Noah. Is that?
Well, no, he got on his boat.
Okay, but
there's the rest of the people that
so
were washed away by the
not
flood.
Noah,
right?
So everybody but Noah.
But hypothetically, they were wicked. So
everybody's wicked.
Right?
We're the worst. We suck. We suck. We suck. If we suck so much, why don't we just fucking die? Why even bother?
I mean, God's more or less kind of said as much.
Yeah.
He's kind of shitty.
He's not nice.
He's definitely not nice.
I don't like this guy.
No.
They said to God, "Leave us alone. What can the Almighty do to us?" Yet it was he who filled their houses with good things. False. I went to the store myself. Or I ordered it from Instacart and that delivery person put it on my porch.
That's right.
So I stand aloof from the plans of the wicked. The righteous see their ruin and rejoice. The innocent mock them. The innocent mock them? Then they're not innocent.
Right.
Saying, surely our foes are destroyed and fire devours their wealth. That whole sentence made no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Submit to God and be at peace with him. Okay. I guess even though I wasn't bad.
He's like listing off like all these horrible things, right? And he's like, but all you got to do is like get right with God and you're good.
Yeah. Submit.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
Bend the knee.
Yeah.
It's a humbling.
It doesn't
just
matter.
Bend the knee.
None of that matters as long as you ask for forgiveness.
Yes, exactly. Submit to God and be at peace with him. And this way prosperity will come to you. Accept instruction from his mouth and lay up his words in your heart.
You know what? I would be very happy to accept instruction from his mouth.
Yeah.
I have never heard instructions from his mouth.
I have not either.
Not many people I know.
I don't know a single person. I take that back. I know a lot of people who claim like, oh, God spoke to me.
I talk to God every day.
I do. I talk to him and he talks to me. And I'm like, I don't think that word means
that's your
what
inner
you
monologue,
think it
you idiot.
Yeah. Like, I want to understand this. Can you put them on speakerphone?
Right.
Like, I think that we're not using the word talk the same way.
Could you relay a message for me and give me the answer back?
Well,
like at the very least,
I don't want it garbled through you.
Right.
How about,
but I'm saying,
can you have him call me? Have God call me. Just pass the message.
Right.
I don't.
For sure.
He's all powerful.
Yeah, I've got lots of ways for him to get a hold of us.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we have cell phones. Email, we have a Google. We're both on Facebook. We're on Twitter.
He could get on Patreon.
He could send me a snail mail. My sister lives like 30 minutes away, but just sent me a letter in the mail on this cute Care Bear stationery because she wanted me to receive personal mail at my new address. Which, I mean, that's just the funnest.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. That's neither here nor there.
Right.
Okay. If you return to the Almighty, you will be restored. So go diddle some kids now.
Oh my God.
And then apologize later.
No, don't do that. That is not okay.
No. Oh, okay. I apologize. No, don't be bad. Yeah. How about just don't be bad? Don't be a fuckstick.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Don't be a pedo.
But don't be any. Yeah.
Don't be a piece of shit. Don't do bad things. Whether there's a God or not, just don't do it.
Right.
And then you don't have to apologize to nobody because you didn't do bad things.
But the question, then is what is considered bad things?
I think we all agree that diddling kids is bad.
Definitely.
I mean,
I'm not trying to laugh at that, but like, Jesus Christ, yes.
Okay, I think also cutting the whiskers off of a cat is bad.
That is horrible.
Because they don't grow back, and that's where they get their balance.
Yeah. No, that's fucking shitty.
Y'all stop cutting whiskers off kittens.
Definitely do not do that.
But you can pull the petals off roses if you want to, because you know what? Even though they recently did you hear about this? These tomato plants where they put the sound of water inside the stems, and you could hear how quote unquote thirsty a tomato plant is.
Huh.
Like, this was trending in the news last week, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, like everybody was like, oh my God, they have feelings. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think that is true. Maybe I'm wrong. I would love to be proven wrong, but
Many people say that cats don't have feelings, but I would ascribe feelings to our cat.
My cat has hurt feelings when I accidentally step on her, and she forgives me every time. She gets underfoot. It's not like I do it on purpose.
I know.
I'm a klutz. She's a klutz. Between the two of us, it's amazing that we're both still alive.
It really is. It really is.
Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm saying is, I don't really know. Don't do bad things. That's where I was going with that.
Right, yeah.
Don't murder.
Definitely
don't do a murder.
Right.
Don't do a genocide, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's right out.
Don't steal. I mean,
unless you gotta.
I know, I'm kind of iffy on that one. Like, if you can pay for it, pay for it. If you can't, I hope that what you're stealing is something that you actually require.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Be as homo as you need, as you want, as you are, whatever. I don't give a fuck who you're fucking as long as it's informed consent.
Right.
What else is bad? What else is bad?
I don't know.
I'm annoying the piss out of you. That is bad.
That's why you're going on as long as you're going, probably.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Don't take people to court just to take them to court. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, take them to court if they are assholes that deserve it.
Right.
But don't just be a jerk.
Got it.
Don't be a greedy fuck. Oh my God.
While you're finishing this list, I'm gonna go grab something to eat.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, you haven't contributed, and don't drink the last Dr. Pepper.
Whatever.
No. Every time you take the last Dr. Pepper, an angel loses a feather.
Okay, so I'm gonna have another one then.
Oh my God, you better stop. Okay, back to the Bible. Ready?
Yeah.
You'll be restored, blah, blah, blah. Say sorry.
Yeah.
If you remove wickedness far from your tent, and assign your nuggets to the dust. It literally says nuggets. Assign your nuggets to the dust.
Okay.
Okay, I gotta know what they mean by nuggets.
I'm not sure what that means.
Gold nuggets,
maybe.
Booger nuggets? What do you mean by nuggets? Your testicles?
I don't know.
Your face is turning red. I am annoying
You're
you
annoying
so
the piss out of me, right?
I'm so sorry. Okay, assign your nuggets to the dust, your gold of Ophir to the rocks in the ravines.
Uh-huh.
Then the Almighty will be your gold, the choicest silver for you.
Wow, he'll be those precious metals for us. Awesome.
I always wanted more gold and silver.
That's what I always look for in a deity, is that they're going to turn into precious metals for me.
Silver and gold. Silver and gold. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Surely then you will find delight in the Almighty and will lift up your face to God.
Wow.
I just needed him to turn into gold and silver. And then I would be happy.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
Yep.
You will pray to him and he will hear you.
I will not, and he will not.
And you will fulfill your vows.
Not a chance.
I didn't make any.
Nope.
What you decide on will be done, and light will shine on your ways. Whoa, heaven, let your light shine down. What?
Nothing. Like, literally every sentence we're interrupting for some sort of commentary tonight.
And a song, yes.
Yeah.
When people are brought low and you say, lift them up, then he will save the downcast.
Okay.
Job is literally saying, lift me up.
Right.
And God is like, nah, bro.
Right.
Okay. He will deliver even one who is not innocent, who will be delivered through the cleanness of your hands. The end.
Okay.
That was just a bunch of bullshit.
It was a bunch of bullshit.
And my commentary and singing editions,
yeah,
that was the best part of this chapter.
Was it?
It was.
It was. Okay.
I dare say everybody else agrees.
That's mighty bold of you.
It is.
Mighty bold.
You know what? I'm confident.
Yeah.
I am confident.
I like confidence. Confidence is a good thing.
Yeah.
It can be misplaced sometimes. But,
No,
you know.
I am confident that everybody listening agrees that my additions and my singing were the best part of this chapter of the Bible.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, make sure you guys hop over to our Patreon to check out the picture of the Godzilla statue thing that I drew a picture of. I'll try to find the picture, but it's still in some box somewhere that we moved. So who knows where that's at. But yeah, we're going to put a picture of the Godzilla up. And that was Job chapter 22.
Sure as fuck was.
And tomorrow, maybe with less commentary, I'm not sure.
It depends on how hyperactive
Apparently,
I am.
yeah.
Sorry.
We'll be back with
Job chapter 23.
All right. We'll see you guys then.
Yep, we sure will. Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you remember what happened yesterday?
Eliphaz was going on about shit, about how he knows how, Job did shit and whatever. God's a dick.
That's the part I remember.
That's the gist of it, I think.
Yeah. God's a dick.
So, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Eliphaz is going on again about how much Job sucks.
Job's friends are real schmucks.
They are real schmucks.
Mm-hmm.
That is for sure. So that was Job chapter 22.
Sure as fuck was.
And today we're going to be reading
Job chapter 23.
Let's go do it.
Okie dokie. Okay, Job chapter 23.
Okay.
I'm very excited because this book has been so great so far.
I mean, it is what it is.
I know. It's not Leviticus.
Yeah, it's not Leviticus.
Okay, but one time I was with a guy and he didn't give me black eyes and that was his claim to fame. That's why I should have stayed with him.
Yeah.
Sometimes merely not being something worse is not a good thing.
Point.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
If your bar is so low that you're like, well, at least it's not Leviticus, or well, at least he's not giving you black eyes. That's
I mean, this
too
is the Bible,
low.
we can't really we're
I liked the book of Esther.
Yeah. All right.
See?
Okay. All right.
So that's my bar. It's got to be as good as the book of Esther, otherwise it sucks.
Well, but this is a famous book.
I know. That's why you know what? I'm probably judging it unfairly. It probably doesn't suck as much as I think it does, but everybody oversold it. And so now I'm like, where's the joy? This is just trash.
Later. It's later.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to hang in there.
Well, there's 42 chapters and we're at chapter 23.
We're over halfway.
We're over halfway there.
Yeah.
Living on a prayer.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Then Job replied, even today my complaint is bitter. His hand is heavy in spite of my groaning.
Wait, this is
Job.
This is Job. Okay.
Job
Sorry.
is like,
I have to wrap my head around it every time because
I
I'm
know.
like, who's talking now? Okay.
Job. It's Job and then a friend.
That's what it sounded
Job
like, but I
and then
wanted to
a
make
friend.
sure. So.
Yeah, his complaint is bitter because God's hand is heavy.
Okay.
Even though Job is groaning.
Yeah.
If only I knew where to find him. If only I could go to his dwelling. I know we talked about that yesterday. That we don't know where to do this. Sometimes he's a pillar of cloud. Sometimes he's on a mountain. Anywhere. Yeah.
Mostly, I don't know where the fuck he is.
That's what I'm saying.
So.
Yeah. So, well, neither does Job.
Right.
He's like,
I wouldn't know where to look him up.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
1, 2, 3 imaginary lane. I don't know.
You stupid. I would state my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I mean, fill your mouth with something, I guess. I would find out what he would answer me and consider what he would say to me. Would he vigorously oppose me? Question mark. No. He would not press charges against me.
That's good. I hate it when God presses charges against
No, but this is confidence. He's like, absolutely not. I know I can hold my own against God.
Right.
Damn. Right. Job, you are kicking ass here verbally.
I mean.
There the upright can establish their innocence before him, and there I would be delivered forever from my judge.
Okay.
So let me just get
So
this
he
straight.
wants to confront him because he's
Yeah.
like, I can do this. I got this.
Yeah. Job wants to go to the guy who knows everything and tell him that everything he should already know.
Right.
Just making sure I understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I go east, comma, he is not there. If I go west, comma, I do not find him.
I bet if you go north or south also.
Right.
You can't find him.
When he is at work in the north, I do not see him. When he turns to the south, I catch no glimpse of him.
Yeah. Nope.
Picnic basket. I don't know why I was pulling that. It just kind of went with it.
Okay.
But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. He's like calling God's bluff. He's like, let me have my say. And then I know, because you know everything, that
I'll win.
Yeah.
That I've got this.
Yeah. Totally.
I don't know why you're fucking with me, but I've got this.
Yeah, we just need to have a conversation so that I can actually find out why you're doing this. Because I know it ain't because I sinned.
Yeah.
My feet have closely followed his steps. I have kept to his way without turning aside. And you know what? I misspoke. It's not that he hasn't sinned. It's that he's righteous. And there's a difference, because we're all sinners, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
The difference is that he's not an evil guy and he atones for whatever he has sinned or whatever. Yeah. So I just want it understood that I understand.
He follows all the practices he's supposed to follow. Mm-hmm. He's a godly man, whatever, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, he's a righteous dude.
Right.
I have not departed from the commands of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my daily bread.
I can't imagine that amount of worship.
I can't either.
Because my daily bread.
You'd rather have God than breakfast? Really?
Right? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either, man.
I'm like, give me breakfast.
Okay, look, I eat two packs. God. I eat 2 packs of oatmeal every morning, the maple and brown sugar kind.
Yeah.
And a cup of coffee, and a glass of water, and my medicine, like my vitamins and whatever.
Sure.
Okay, that's my breakfast every morning, without fail. Okay, even though it's boring. And even though I've been doing it for like years now, like I still want that more than God.
Yeah. Yeah.
At all.
Yep. There's a lot of things I want more than God.
I mean, just coffee.
Coffee.
I can't give up coffee for God.
Right. No. I wouldn't either.
But he stands alone, and who can oppose him? ?
Yeah.
He does whatever he pleases.
He does.
It sounds like he's true. Like shrugging, like, what you going to do?
Yeah, it's God.
Yeah. He carries out his decree against me, and many such plans he still has in store. That is why I am terrified before him. When I think of all this, I fear him.
There's that fear again.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with that guy.
I mean, you should be fearful. He just killed 10 of your kids and fucking gave you boils.
For no reason.
Ruined your fucking life.
For no reason.
Yeah, that's if somebody can do that to me, I'm going to be scared of them.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't believe in God. I don't think that he has that power. But if I thought somebody could do that to me, yeah, goddamn right I'd be scared of them.
It's true. God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has terrified me. Yet I am not silenced by the darkness, by the thick darkness that covers my face. The end.
He's like, I may be going through rough times, but I know who I am, what I've done, and I can't be silenced.
Yeah.
I know I am right.
Yeah.
I know I'm right. And even though I'm scared of you, God.
Yep. He's like, bring it. I may shake in my boots, but I will have the talk anyways.
Yeah. I can't get over how much dickishness it takes for a God to just fuck with a person this much.
Yeah.
You know?
Not to fuck with him this much, but to allow him to be fucked with.
Right.
To basically be like, knowing ahead of time, oh, you're going to fuck with my guy? That's cool. What?
Right. Yeah.
What?
No, it's bullshit.
Look, we mere humans, we don't let somebody get away with fucking with our friends. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're just mere humans. Like, if you and your buddy are out and somebody starts picking on him, you'll be like, excuse you?
Right.
And step in, even though you don't know anything.
Sure.
And if the guy's like, your friend's a dick, because you know your friend, you will automatically be like, no, he ain't. You better step off.
Right.
Even if he is a dick, you don't get to punch him. So move along.
Yeah.
And then if your friend turns to you and is like, I know, right? I'm totally not a dick. I didn't do these things.
You're on their side.
You would be like, I know, God.
Unlike Job's friends.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Job's friends suck.
Job's friends suck. God sucks. Like, everybody sucks in this story. Even when Job is doing his, like, oh kill me. That kind of sucks.
He seems to be getting over that at some level.
He's gone through, like, sadness, and now he went through anger, and now he's at negotiating.
Right. This is he's going through the stages of grief.
The stages of grief. Yeah. Oh, I wish I knew what the stages were so that we could start over and be like, okay, this is that. This is that.
I mean, I kind of know what they are. But
well, I know he was.
I could list them off.
I know the anger and negotiation. Like, right. I know negotiation comes sometime after anger.
Right. Being resigned is one of them, isn't it?
That's the last one.
That's the last one.
Acceptance, right. Yeah. So there's 3 of them.
Right.
I don't know what the other ones are.
I can't remember.
I don't either. But
well,
he seems to be going through the stages, though.
Yeah, he does.
So he's right now at negotiation and bargaining.
All right. Well, that was Job chapter 23.
Sure as fuck was.
And we will be back tomorrow with
Job chapter 24.
See you guys then.
Yep. Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you remember what happened yesterday?
Job was talking about how God should do things, and
he wanted to
talk to God. Yeah, right.
He wants to plead his case. He wants to be like, yo, I know if you just hear me out,
right,
then we can come to an understanding.
Yeah.
Because you know everything, God, and you're smart and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, I know I'm right, so just hear me out.
Yeah. Which is
smart. I mean,
funny. It's funny in and of itself because it's like you're saying, you know everything. And I also know this thing, so if we talk, then you'll know this thing too, even though you should already know it because you know everything.
Right, basically something's fucked.
Yeah.
Get your ass down here.
So I think that he's disguising, I want answers and I want them now, as, you're awesome, and I have nothing to add to your awesomeness, but...
Except that I know I can prove I'm wrong, or you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm innocent and shit.
Yeah.
So... What the fuck, man?
It's almost like he's like, talk to me or you're a coward.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that was Job chapter 23.
It sure as fuck was.
And today we're going to be reading...
Job chapter 24.
All right, let's go do this.
Okie dokie.
Strike!
Tell me something I don't know, Ump.
Well, unlike that nasty curveball, there aren't any surprises when you finance your next car with Carvana. You get real terms personalized for you right in your strike zone.
Really?
Stay right!
How am I supposed to focus when you're telling me about Carvana?
Well, Slugger, you gotta keep your eye on the ball. Just like you can keep an eye on your customized down and monthly car payments.
I can customize those?
He's out and on his way to finance his next car with Carvana.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today. We'll drive you happy at Carvana.
Before we get into this episode, I do want to cover something real quick I meant to cover in the intro here.
Is this like a housekeeping kind of thing?
Sort of, yeah. I haven't really asked for this for a while, but we also haven't had anybody rate us and review us in a while. So I'm going to ask again, see if you guys are out there listening and haven't rated and reviewed us. The big 2 where it really makes a difference for us would be Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I know for sure that both of those have places to rate and review us, and most of our exponential growth for our podcast has actually come through Spotify, interestingly enough. But so yeah, if you have some time, go rate and review us, and it helps us out more than you could imagine.
I mean, there's an algorithm, so I guess you probably can imagine.
Well, yeah, you might be able to imagine.
So we all know the algorithm.
It definitely fucking helps.
God bless the algorithm.
And we'll, yay fans. That would be awesome.
Yes, go worship the algorithm. Please.
That being said, let's go ahead and start Job chapter 24 now.
Oh, okay, more God stuff.
More God stuff.
Okay. So normally the chapters in this particular book have been starting with the word then.
Yeah, we're skipping that this time?
We're not starting with
Holy
that.
Shit.
We're starting with an interrogative.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Why?
That sounds about like that tracks. That's what it should be.
Right.
Why?
Yeah, that could pretty much sum up the whole book of the Bible.
It really could. It could sum up all the books of the Bible in my perspective.
Right, yeah.
Why does the Almighty not set times for judgment? Like a court date, you know what I mean?
I mean,
why does he not set court dates?
Probably because he doesn't show himself to people.
Or give a shit, or exist.
Right, those two.
Yeah. Why must those who know him look in vain for such days? Why?
Because, again, we just covered this.
You don't really know him.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you think you know him, but you've never actually talked to him or met him.
You know him the way you know an alligator, except an alligator knows you better because it exists. You know him the way you know a mermaid. You know him the way you know a unicorn.
Right.
You know him the way you know a dragon or an elf.
Sure, yeah.
You don't know him, though.
At
you
all.
Don't.
Not even a little.
Yeah. Maybe as a cloud. Something.
Maybe.
Something that isn't really real, except in like this very ethereal, doesn't do anything kind of way.
Sure.
And I'm giving you grace there.
Right.
By offering that up. At best.
But there are people that really think that they're talking to God.
And
I mean, that's like a legitimate thing. They think they're talking to God.
Right. And I get that. But what I don't get is when they say, and he talks back. That's the scary part to me.
Right.
Are you hearing, like, what do you mean by that? Are you hearing voices? Or is it your subconscious?
It's like an imaginary friend for adults, you know?
I don't approve.
And if you take it too far, obviously, I mean,
you take it too far and we end up in an anti-abortion country.
Right.
I mean,
there is that, yes.
Or trans youth that are being offered
targeted
up
for crimes and everything else.
Yeah. So let's not, guys.
Yeah, let's not.
Okay, so why? There are those who move boundary stones. They pasture flocks they have stolen. They drive away the orphan's donkey and take the widow's ox in pledge.
So bad people still. We're going over
bad people.
Okay.
They thrust the needy from the path.
That's rude.
Force all the poor of the land into hiding. They're supposed to feed the poor.
Yeah.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Right. But these are bad people.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But, yeah.
And this is what we're going over. Why aren't these people punished? And
why do bad people flourish?
Very fucking legitimate question.
If you're going to talk about God. Yeah. Like wild donkeys in the desert.
Yeah.
You know,
I know all about those wild donkeys in the desert.
Like wild donkeys in the desert. Wait, hold on a second.
Don't donkeys have to be bred by humans?
I think they do, actually.
So they aren't wild. They're domesticated but set free.
Right.
Because they can't even reproduce
or
amongst themselves.
Or are we talking about, maybe it's not donkeys. Maybe it's mules.
Maybe it's just maybe the word's wrong in the Bible. But like, oh, wait.
No, it's mules, isn't
I
it?
see. Okay, it's mules. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're thinking
mules are the ones that have to be bred. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because they're the ones that are non-viable, right?
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Okay. I mean,
I could be wrong. I didn't know. I spoke too soon there.
I mean, donkeys and mules, they're easily confused.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
Ponies and horses and donkeys and
giant
mules.
fucking weird-headed animals.
That look like aliens. They all have triangle heads. They look like praying mantises with bones. You know, with like high bone structure.
Right.
They all have triangle heads, which makes them alien.
Yeah. You don't like them.
I think that they are way too fucking smart and pointy-faced for their own good.
Right. Plus, if you're feeding them an apple, they can take your whole fucking hand off.
They can. And I have known people who have had the tip of their finger taken off.
Right, yeah.
And that's not okay.
No.
And yes, I know horses are lovely. Horses are nice. I don't wish them harm. But I do think that they know more than they're telling us.
Probably, yeah.
And I don't approve of it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's definitely a big conspiracy theory.
I'm not saying that they're like a covert operation of aliens in the government or something.
It's not like a horse cabal or something.
It's just that if you look at them, even the nice ones, right? They're the ones with kind eyes, right?
Yeah.
If you look at them, they just look like there's a lot going on in there. And I don't approve of it.
Okay.
I don't think...
I mean, you don't have to approve of it.
I don't like alligators and crocodiles either.
Right, but they're a little bit more vicious than
They look
than a
evil.
horse.
Those things look evil.
Yeah.
Horses don't look evil. They just look too smart for their own good.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Kind of like dolphins. Dolphins I don't disapprove of, but I do think they are more intelligent and I think they're kindly intelligent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think if they had thumbs, we'd all be in trouble.
Right, probably.
Don't give thumbs to dolphins.
Right.
We don't need no fucking polydactyl dolphins. Okay? So anyway, like wild donkeys in the desert, the poor go about their labor of foraging food. The wasteland provides food for their children. They gather fodder in the fields and glean in the vineyards of the wicked. Lacking clothes, oh, now the poor are naked. Ooh, sorry.
These poor people got it rough.
Yeah, that's not cool, guys.
No, that's not cool.
Lacking clothes, they spend the night naked. They have nothing to cover themselves in the cold. They are drenched by mountain rains and hug the rocks for lack of shelter. Well, they should have been born to better families. That's their own faults.
But, saying this means that God is letting this shit happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that this is more of
why do bad things happen to good people and why do bad people flourish?
Right.
Both of those questions.
But the shitty thing is that most Christian-oriented people would be like, well, they must have brought it on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They did something to make themselves get put in that position.
Or it's part of God's ineffable plan and it's not ours to know because he works in mysterious ways.
Right. Yeah.
So either I know the answer and it's because you suck, or I don't know the answer and it's okay.
I just never understood how, it's one thing to blame parents and older people for being in the position that they're in, right? But there's kids that get born into these situations that literally have no choice,
right,
and no control over the situation they're in.
Let's take away their school lunches because that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
no computer for you, poor kid.
But how can you say that that's God's plan?
Right.
God literally wants a kid, a child, an innocent person to fail immediately upon their birth.
Or have leukemia, or, any other number of ways that
And how does that teach anybody a fucking lesson? How does that teach anything to humanity?
I know the lesson I learned, but I don't think it was what God intended.
Right.
The fatherless child is snatched from the breast. The infant of the poor is seized for a debt. That's just wrong.
Yeah, it is.
Your parents suck. You're going to jail.
Or slavery.
What? Yeah. Lacking clothes, they go about naked. They carry the sheaves, but still go hungry. They crush olives among the terraces. They tread the wine presses, yet suffer thirst. Now, I've always heard that slaves enjoy being slaves, and they have fun doing work.
That's what they've said that before. Yeah,
I actually heard my mom say that.
Oh,
and I about
Jesus.
shit my pants. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
How could I learn that from my own parent? Like, by the time I was an adult, I knew that wasn't true.
Wait, so when you were younger, she said this?
No.
Oh, this was recent-ish.
It was, I want to say it was before they moved to Ohio. So it would have been over 20 years ago, but still, I'm in my late 40s. So we're talking about I was in my 20s.
Yeah, that's,
I knew that slavery, by definition, isn't fun.
Right, yeah.
But they enjoyed it because they were singing in the fields.
Oh, my God.
Right?
The mental acrobats you have to do to get there.
I'm like, Mom, that sounds so exciting. I think we should go sign up right now. Like, let us all be slaves. Because if it's fun.
If it's fun, we should just go do that.
And then I'm thinking about what lazy bitches she and I are. And I'm like, there's no fucking way that would be fun.
Right.
No fucking way is slavery fun. And even if you enjoy being a workaholic son of a bitch, you don't enjoy being a workaholic son of a bitch at somebody else's behest.
Right.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is way off topic.
Way off topic.
But just for the record, straight up, slavery is wrong.
Definitely
and it's
wrong.
not fun.
Correct.
You dum-dums.
Yes.
Okay. The groans of the dying rise from the city, and the souls of the wounded, I almost said wounded, wounded cry out for help. But God charges no one with wrongdoing because he's a dick.
Yeah. Well, but I've heard people say that if we weren't left to our own devices, we'd never grow. We never learn. And that, and then their answer, like, this was something I read recently, that as a species, we're basically at age 7 or something like that. So we've got a lot more growing to do. That's why we're still going through all this shit from God.
No, you know what? We are at age 7 because we still believe in God.
I mean, yeah, right?
I'm
right?
like, the fact is correct, but your reasoning is so wrong.
But I just can't, I mean, I cannot imagine, because if you take the Bible as law, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you know for a fact that God can intervene.
Yeah.
God can change things. God can make things better. God can make things worse,
Well,
right?
they still say pray to move him.
If you believe in the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what does it take for a God to see all the injustices and just turn a blind eye to it all?
Right.
I mean, it blows me away how much you have to set aside in common sense to believe this shit.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense at all.
It really doesn't. It just doesn't.
So whatever. I'm sorry. We've already went off on other shit, so I'm going to stop there.
Okay. There are those who rebel against the light, who do not know its ways or stay in its path.
Ooh,
that would
right
be
here,
me
right
and
here.
you.
Yeah,
Me and
me.
you.
Yeah.
When daylight is gone, the murderer rises up. Okay, we're not murderers.
We're not murderers, no.
And it's
Definitely
not because of a fear of God, and it's not because of a fear of punishment. We just know that murder is wrong because at the very basis level, biologically speaking, it would be stupid.
Yeah.
But also morals and ethics.
Right.
We don't want to.
Right. We have those.
We have them, and we don't want to kill people.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Right.
When daylight is gone, the murderer rises up, kills the poor and needy, and in the night steals forth like a thief.
I find that they don't really kill the poor and needy generally. They're looking for people that have shit. Generally.
Yeah.
Unless they're psychopaths.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's just my estimation.
Right.
You know.
The eye of the adulterer watches for dusk. Ooh. You cheaty pants son of a gun.
That dusk time. That's when all the cheaters come out.
Dusk. Mm-hmm. Now, see, in my experience, they do it during the workday.
Right.
That's when your partner is busy, occupied.
Exactly.
So, they're like, haha, she's at work. She'll never find out.
Right.
And then you come home and there they are. And you're like, oh my.
Right, yeah.
The eye of the adulterer watches for dusk. He thinks, no one will see me. And he keeps his face concealed. In the dark, thieves break into houses unless you have a security camera.
Right, yeah.
And then
highly recommend.
Sets off the alarm and then they run away and hopefully get caught.
I got to say, I was actually robbed once, and it was in the middle of the day, so.
Yeah, actually, now that you
say
say that, when my dad was in the military and we were stationed overseas, before we moved on base where we lived, there was a, what's it called? Like the mafia people.
Yeah.
Like.
The mafia.
Yeah, like where we lived.
Because you were in Italy.
Yeah, you had to pay
like the real mafia.
Yeah, you had to pay the people who, like, quote unquote, own your street.
Right.
For them to keep it safe, which means you're paying them so they don't rob you.
Right.
Well, we had plumbing issues, so we moved to a different street, and we didn't know that was under a different rule. So
right. That you'd already paid up.
Yeah, and so our house got robbed, and it was during the day.
Right.
So that story had a long path, but it got there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thieves break in whenever they know you're not home.
Yeah.
Which is daytime.
It's usually easier in the daytime, I would say, because people aren't as suspicious during the day.
Yeah.
And generally people are at work and stuff too.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, if you're walking down the street, nobody's going to question you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Especially if you carry a clipboard.
Yeah. Right? Clipboards help out.
Look official.
Definitely.
Put on a cap, carry a clipboard, and
right.
you look good to go. You're just, what? You're a meter person. You're just trying
I'm going to check the gas thing back here.
The electricity meter thing. Yeah. In the dark, thieves break into houses, but by day they shut themselves in. They want nothing to do with the light.
Yeah, the light's bad.
They're confusing bad guys with vampires.
Right?
Like, no, you got it wrong, guys. For all of them, midnight is their morning. See?
Yeah.
Vampires.
Right.
They make friends with the terrors of darkness.
Oh,
Are
those
you
damn
serious?
terrors
This
of
is
darkness.
like a scary movie.
Right? Yeah.
Yet they are foam on the surface of the water. So is the Little Mermaid if you read the original story.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, at the end, she doesn't turn into a princess that gets to walk on land and swim in the sea.
Oh.
In the original story, she
I know
rather
it's darker.
than it's very dark. Rather than kill her boyfriend Prince guy,
Yeah.
which she was charged to do because he married another.
Right.
The witch instead turns her into sea foam, so she dies.
Oh, wow.
You know, voiceless, footless. She doesn't get anything that she wanted. She's dead. She lives forever as sea foam.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I would like to see that made into a movie, honestly. I think that would be awesome.
America doesn't like unhappy endings, though.
Some of us do. Some of us are a little
no,
darker.
but I mean, generally speaking, you know, we're conditioned to like those happy endings.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of women like a good movie that'll solid make them cry, like the movie Beaches.
Right.
That had a bittersweet ending. Steel Magnolias. Oh my gosh, who didn't cry at that movie, right? The Hours was about Virginia Woolf as well as the book she wrote. And both of those were just, I cried all the way through. Hard movies.
Yeah.
We like to cry.
Right.
So why don't they give us what we want?
I don't know.
Okay, anyway. They're foam on the surface of the water, just like Ariel. Their portion of the land is cursed so that no one goes to the vineyards. That's not true.
Okay.
As he and Drought snatch away the melted snow, so the grave snatches away those who have sinned. I mean, the grave snatches everybody. We all die.
That's not unique.
That's not really a snatching. That's a sickness we all
Inevitability.
endure. An
Right.
inevitability like taxes. The womb forgets them. The worm feasts on them. The wicked are no longer remembered, but are broken like a tree.
I mean,
Mwah, mwah,
to be
mwah.
fair, most people are not remembered.
It's true.
So-
I mean, we can't all be Shakespeare. I think I said that
Right?
yesterday.
Yeah.
They prey on the barren and childless woman, and to the widow they show no kindness. They're making
Okay.
these people out to be the vampires that are just like so evil, and they're just like, well,
I think that-
really the biggest evil to me is the normal person who just sometimes does bad things.
Right. I mean, I think the Bible really likes these black and white, evil and good.
For
Evil and good.
7-year-olds, you mean? Like stories for 7-year-olds because we're
Basically.
7.
But they there is no gray area because God dictates
And that
good
would,
and evil.
that would take nuance.
Right.
And
Yeah,
7-year-olds can't
nuance
do
is too
nuance.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But God drags away the mighty by his power. Though they become established, they have no assurance of life. Nobody does.
Right? Yeah.
We all die.
yeah.
He may let them rest in a feeling of security, but his eyes are on their ways. Are his eyes on their ways? I just don't feel like that's true.
Everybody dies.
Everybody dies, and sometimes kids die, which sucks.
You know
and
what?
Isn't right.
Right. And the only people that get watched are people that are doing better than other people.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those people are assholes, you know?
How about
And
Trump?
so, you know who gets paid attention? The reason they probably think this is because people who are assholes, who are rich,
Mm-hmm.
when they fall, people enjoy it.
Oh, that Schadenfreude is real.
Right. So, like, you're going to think, oh, they got what they deserved, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how old they were when they died. It doesn't matter whatever. Like, they had that coming, right?
It's
That's
true.
the thought process of people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
So if they had it coming, obviously God punished them,
Right.
right?
Right.
But everybody dies.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you're good, bad, ugly, pretty, purple. I don't care. You fucking die.
It's true. It's true. And what's funny is the Schadenfreude for me is not when they die, it's when they actually get punished for something. And I'm like, there
Right.
finally is a little piece of justice. When they die, I'm not like, great punishment. I'm just like, thank goodness they're gone.
I always
can't do
thought
further
that,
harm.
like, I do not like the death penalty personally.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I don't like it is because I figure if you did something wrong and you have to spend your entire life in jail
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it, everybody dies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you die earlier than you should have,
Mm-hmm.
you get out of that.
Yeah,
you don't
that's
have to
true.
think about that shit anymore.
That's
you don't have to
true.
deal with it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to spend your whole life in jail because of that action that you did,
Right.
I think that's worse than dying.
But the taxpayer, they're doing it. They're being fed and clothed on the taxpayer dime.
But we also put people in jail for fucking smoking weed.
It's
I
true.
don't want to hear about the fucking taxpayer. It's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
And it's bullshit.
It is bullshit. Like, let's just reconfigure the system so that it doesn't suck so hard.
Right,
How about
right.
that?
Yeah.
Okay, so he lets them rest, blah, blah, blah. His eye is on them. For a little while, they are exalted. For a little while.
Yeah.
Just their entire fucking lives.
Sure, yeah.
Trump. For a little while, they are exalted, and then they are gone. They are brought low and gathered up like all others. They are cut off like heads of grain. This is such bullshit.
They should say, yeah, whatever.
If this is not so, who can prove me false and reduce my words to nothing? The end. We just did.
Oh my God, right?
We just
Yeah,
did.
I mean, yes, you. It's just you're using fancy words to describe the same thing that's going to happen to you and everybody else.
Yeah.
And you're using them very strongly to describe bad people, but the same things could be said about good people.
Right. Exactly.
Other than they're murderers and,
Yeah.
bad people.
Yeah.
But they're going to die. They're going
Mhm.
to be forgotten. All that shit happens to good people too.
Yeah.
So it's nothing special that's happening to them.
No. No. It would mean a lot more if they were actually punished in life. you
Right?
know?
Yeah.
So.
No, that's what I'm saying. Life in jail,
Yeah.
Shit's much better.
Sure. Plus, I'm sorry, but even one person who is incorrectly put to death does
Right.
not make up for 10 others who were actually guilty of the crime.
Right.
Like,
right.
I just don't think that's not a fair trade.
I will say this. If something happened to a loved one of mine, I would probably want that person to have the death penalty even for a lower crime.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I shouldn't be in charge
And
of,
that's not that's not
punishing them.
justice, that's vengeance. And
Right.
those are not the same.
Right.
And there is a part of you that would know that, and that's why you remove yourself from the equation.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely know that.
Because you would want to go after them on a personal level.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, definitely. I say that, and, I have known people who were assaulted as children,
Yeah.
and I want to tear them up one side and down the other.
So I don't begrudge people that want people to die for their crimes. I understand
Sure.
that. But you have to be able to look at things on a bigger, more worldly scale.
Don't be so
like-
childish and
right.
selfish.
That's just my
Honestly.
opinion.
No, I totally agree. It's
But
it's a non-nuanced, immature view because we're only 7. And on that note,
yeah, all right. So that was Job chapter 24.
sure as fuck was.
And tomorrow we'll be back with...
Job chapter 25.
All right, we'll see you then.
Bye. Husband,
Wife!
do you know what
remember
today
what
is?
happened yesterday?
Well, it's Saturday. Job
It sure
was
as
going
fuck
on
is,
about
and we're
how
doing
people
Q&A
get punished
Saturday.
when
That's right.
dead.
And what are we going over
We
today?
get punished by dying.
They get punished by dying,
Job
which
chapters
happens
21
to
through
literally
25.
everybody.
Yeah.
Is that
So
all
I
you have to
didn't
say?
really
That's all
see
I
the
got to
point
say.
in
Okay.
that.
Well, then
Yeah,
let's
the
go say some
subtitle
more
was
after the
Job
break.
complains of God's indifference to wickedness. But to me, that's not what he was really talking about in this.
Right, he was
chapter.
talking more about the actual punishment that does get doled out to them, I
Okay,
thought.
so
And it was
we are
just really
doing
weird
a
because
Q&A
I'm like,
covering
yeah,
chapters
death, I guess,
21
punishes
through
us
25
all
of Job.
by happening.
And
eventually,
there
at some
wasn't
point,
really
to
a
everybody.
lot to
That
say
happens.
about it.
So I didn't
beyond.
really get the point.
We weren't always sure that we were reading
I feel like the
it
writers just
correctly
running
or
out of shit to talk
understanding it
about.
correctly, even
Okay.
though it
They're
was
like,
kinda-
okay, we've been granted 42 chapters.
Some of it was obvious
Right.
and some
Yeah,
of it
yeah.
was
What you got? What you got?
Yeah.
And
Right,
then they were
but
like,
they're being so
"Oh, sorry,
long-winded about
writers
it.
are on
It's
strike."
just like,
Yeah.
blah, blah,
So-
blah.
It's a case of
blah.
writer block.
So I thought
this time.
instead
Reality
of
TV
doing one of
makes
our
an
other
appearance.
rabbit holes
Okay.
that we had listed, that I would
So, yeah,
kinda
that
go
was,
over, make
Job
sure
chapter
that we're
24.
following
Sure as fuck
correctly.
was.
And today
do
we're going to be
basically
reading.
like a little summary of each
Job,
chapter.
chapter
And
25,
I do
'cause
have
that's
something
good
to
math.
say
That's the one.
about
All right, let's
one
do
of the
this.
chapters that is a fun Q&A.
Oh, okay. So there's at
So-
least one fun thing.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
There's at least one fun thing.
That's great. So
Okay.
stay tuned for the fun thing at least.
Okay,
Yes,
so
I'll let you know
this
the
is
fun
Job
thing
chapter
when we get to it.
25.
Okay?
Yeah, it is.
Which
Okay.
consists
So,
of
chapter
maybe,
21
I'm being
contains
generous here,
Job's
7
last
sentences.
speech in the second cycle of the debate.
I opened the chapter and I go, oh
Oh.
my God.
So I guess this is kind of
told
like a
you
night
when
off.
we first started,
I
Job,
guess.
Is that what we're getting at here?
Yeah, but I
the
go, oh my
chapters
God. And then you
can
go,
be,
what? And I go, oh, nothing.
Broken down into
broken down
sections.
into
And you were like,
sections
Right.
called
what is it, really, really
Yeah.
long? And I
So,
was like,
um,
no.
Chapter
And
21
you go,
is
how long
the
is it?
last
And I was
speech
like,
that
I'll tell you
Job
in a
gives
minute.
in
Right.
a
Like
second.
the first question I ask every
Yeah.
time we get into a
Okay.
chapter. Yeah.
And
is
it's
like,
the
how long
only
is this
speech
chapter?
in which
How long is
Job
this chapter?
confines
And we
all
have
of
like
his remarks
short,
clearly to
medium,
his
short.
friends.
Got it.
Long,
So,
he's
oh,
not
and that
short
makes sense
to
because he started
medium.
talking to God.
Medium.
There's
That was in the
3,
next chapter.
Yeah. No, I
categories
get it.
of short,
there were
3
two
categories of
chapters,
medium, and 3
Right, yeah.
categories
normally
of
it was
long.
just like
is what
one
you're trying
chapter
to
of
say.
Job,
Yeah.
one chapter
Yeah.
of one of his friends.
This would be
Right.
0.
Right.
But 21 and 22, I believe,
This is
are both Job.
Yeah, it's not even
Like,
short. It's
Yeah.
22 is a
So
continuation.
sorry,
of
I had to
22.
switches
open that
his
way
tactic
because
But
I was like,
that's in the
oh my
next
God.
chapter. So in this chapter, it's the
So
only
yeah,
chapter
I
where
mean,
he's
enjoy the
only
the short
talking to his
episode today, I
friends.
Got it. guess.
Okay?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't.
And,
You don't get as much of us today.
No,
Unless we
the
go on
first
about some
part
bullshit
verses
like
for
1
like
through
ever.
6
like how short this
Like
chapter
right
is.
now.
chapter 21.
Yeah, I mean,
Job
that's-
pleads with
that's
his
why I just
friends
had to
to
open with
change
that.
their
Yeah,
attitude.
sure.
Sorry.
No, I
Okay,
got
ready?
it.
He
Yeah, I'm ready.
opens his speech
Okay,
with a
we're
plea
back
for
to
his
Bildad
friends
the
to actually
Shuhite.
listen
Bildad the
instead of
Shuhite.
mock
Got it.
him.
Then,
And
There
he
it
knows
is.
that his
Bildad the
complaint is with
Shuhite replied,
God, not with any
dominion
human
and
beings.
all
And therefore
belong
he
to
hopes that
God.
his friends will
He
be his
establishes
allies.
order
Right.
in the heights of
Instead,
heaven.
add to
Does
Job's
he?
trauma
There's
by
one
accusing
sentence.
So
him.
that's what
Right.
we're counting them.
Which,
Yeah, I gotta know
I
how
think
many.
maybe
Okay.
is
All right.
part of
Can
like
his forces be
Satan's
numbered?
doing, like,
Question
I think
mark?
that's
His
part of
sentences in
the
this
deal
chapter
he made
can
with
be.
God, like,
Yeah.
another way
On
he's
whom
fucking
does
with
his
Job.
light not
Sure.
rise?
Turning his
Question
friends
mark.
against
That
him.
is a
Right,
good question.
right.
I don't
Literally
know who it is.
leaving him
Well, I
out
mean, probably
high
the
and
people
dry.
that are on the other side
Yeah.
of the earth.
But I
where the
didn't
light's
really
not rising
get
right
that
Yeah,
as we were reading
So it-
through
it's-
that was
It's
one
the
of the
whole.
things that
Sometimes the
it's
sun
beer.
sets.
It's beer
Right, I don't
o'clock
think that was
somewhere
stated
on
as Yeah. one of
the
the things
planet.
that
Yeah,
was
that's
bad.
setting
It just
somewhere.
is one of the
So
things
that's
that
3.
is bad.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
So-
How
and
then
it's very
can a mortal
clear
be
that
righteous
this
before
is not
God?
normal because
4.
Moreover, his wife was the same You're way. throwing me off.
Yeah.
They just
Counting
didn't touch on it that
sentences
long.
thing.
So.
exactly.
So,
Why
but
don't you
everybody
keep a silent
he's,
count,
he's
and then we can
completely alone.
tally it up.
Everybody's
No.
everybody that he loves and
because
cares
I have
about
to count as we go.
or
Oh.
respects
Okay,
or
so,
admires is either
how
dead
could a
or
mortal be
completely
righteous
turned
before
against
God?
Yeah.
and that's
By
part of
not
his suffering.
being a murdery son of a
in the
bitch
next
who
part,
steals.
I mean, that's
chapter
how I always felt
21,
about it,
verses
right?
7 through
Yeah.
16,
righteous,
Job
just don't
questions
be a
why
dick.
the
Yeah, don't be a
wicked
dick.
prosper and why they
How
are not
can
always
one
punished
born of
as the
woman
friends
be
insisted.
pure?
Right.
Question
And
mark.
so he
Whoa.
confronts the friends to match
I mean,
their
what?
neat imaginary
Right?
world
That's
with
some
reality.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Maybe
and he's
maybe
like,
you.
y'all.
You
Right.
know, that
Yeah.
reminds me of the
About
people that
XYZ,
like
right.
Yeah.
are like.
And
well,
then in
that's
the
just-
next
that's
part,
just what guys do,
verses
and that's
17
just how
through
things work.
26,
Ooh.
Job
I
asks
have
how
no control
often the
over
wicked are
who I am.
punished.
It's just who I am.
And he
women
points out the
suck, so
lack of
anybody born of a
connection
woman
between
is
a
a piece of shit
person's
because women are shit.
righteousness
I
and
call
the
bullshit.
fullness
You
of
make
that
fucking
person's
decisions,
life.
and you
Implying
choose
that
to do
divine
things
retribution
that you
is
do.
not
Yes.
actually
You choose
reflected
to do
in
them,
this world.
regardless
This is
of
one of
how
the things that bothered me because I
ingrained
remember reading
in
that
your,
when we read
the last one I think it was.
subprimal
And
brain or whatever.
Job was
it
saying
is.
something in the last
You
one
chose
about
to do
how
It's
they
amazing
get their
how
punishment
you
by
were
dying
assigned
and
male
then
at
the
birth
end, right?
and
Yeah.
identify
Like they're
as
gonna,
male,
but
and yet are
he's
not.
saying the exact opposite.
Right.
In this
Amazing.
chapter.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that we misunderstood
Crazy.
it.
The bar is
I think
Okay.
that he
fucking
wasn't
low.
saying
Yeah.
that
You are
they do
everything
get punished.
that would indicate
I think he
that
was
is
saying
a man.
they might as
and
well
yet-
not get punished
Right.
because everybody
You're
dies.
not a son
Like,
of a
that's,
bitch who
that's
steals
what
and
we were
rapes
saying.
and
Very proud of that.
And
fact,
I
by the
think
way.
that we misunderstood it
should be.
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
making that
Okay, so
same.
we're at 5.
Okay, 5.
Ooh.
If
Ooh,
even
that
the
was
moon
bad.
was
That
not
was
right,
bad.
and the
Yeah.
stars are
Bad.
not pure in his eyes,
He did
how
not.
much less a mortal who
he
is
did-
but a
oh, I lost maggot.
train of thought.
A human being was only a worm. So he was basically saying, in this part, as well as in the garbage,
right? You're a maggot or a worm.
Everybody dies
such
at the end, so that's
not
like
wrong.
the punishment
Humans
that we
are
all
fucking
get. That's not
right.
okay,
Sure.
but
the evil
not
that get that
for the
so it's
same
kind of
reasons.
Sure.
Like not
So,
because of sin.
I think we got that one
and,
wrong.
You know, we're all born of Eve,
which
and we bit the apple and condemned us forever.
It's choices.
Okay, in the next section, verses 27 through 34, Job remarks the failure of the friends' rebuttals.
Cat called the fuck out of me just now because she was using me as a scratching pad
by pointing out the insubstantiality of his friend's comfort.
So he's like, y'all are
yeah,
wrong.
I
You're not
do
comforting
think
me,
that
and
the
this
human
is
race
bullshit.
is
Right.
trash. Like
Yeah.
we are.
No, they're not good friends.
They're not
A
They're not.
pestilence
and
on
again,
this planet.
That
We are
may be by
ruining
design.
the planet.
Right.
So,
Yeah, honestly, even if
We
Job
are,
is kind of a
you know,
shitty
nothing
person,
more
he has
than
every right
greedy
to
monkeys.
his
You know what I
friends.
mean?
If you're his friends,
we
you already knew he
pick
was
our
kind
nose
of a
and
shitty
throw
person.
shit at each other.
He's
and
not,
want
according
the
to
biggest
God and
pile of
according to this
bananas,
book, he's
right?
not.
This is where
Right.
I falter
But,
with this
you know,
whole idea of
even
they're
if he
supposed
was.
to be
feel
your
like-
friends.
Okay, now I have
You
something to say
can
about
rise
that.
above
As
that.
I was
You
doing
can
this
choose to be
research,
better, and it has nothing.
a lot of times it
not
didn't refer
a damn
to
thing to do with
them
a God.
as his friends.
Not
it
at
referred to
all.
them as the
It's
friends.
choice.
Meaning
It's
they were friends
understanding
with each other.
how you affect
not
the world you live
necessarily
in.
Job's friends.
That's
they
all
were
it
just
is.
three friends.
Well, then they can ruin
Anyway.
this off.
Exactly. 6 sentences.
Six
I don't
sentences, that
know
was
how
Job
true
chapter
that is, but it
25.
struck
I
me
think
the
that
way
if
you're
you're
listening to us and enjoying it,
researcher
you're
was-
not a maggot.
the research
and
that
if
I was
you're
doing was
contributing
written
and enjoying
that it makes me
definitely
wonder
not
if
a
maybe
worm.
we got that wrong too.
Right,
That they
yeah.
weren't Job's friends. They were just
sure.
some friends that
As
were,
long as we're doling out,
Unless you
trying
want to
talk
be. If you want to
Job
be a
into
maggot or a
coming back
worm.
around.
But you're
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
you know,
God or whatever.
halfway decent
Well, and that's
person.
one of the
Sure.
things that
You be
is
what you
really
wanna be.
hard about
Yeah,
the Bible.
it's
We
true.
don't judge here.
There are
I mean,
so
we
many
do judge.
interpretations.
I judge a lot.
Well,
even with the
we
words
don't
that are
judge-
there now,
Mhm.
when it's not that
Informed
you know,
consent.
with all the,
Yeah,
the
sure.
interpretations
Yeah,
that have been
That's
mishandled
what I
over
meant.
You guys
time,
just don't
and
be
even
rapey
to
fucks.
this day,
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a
it's almost
dick.
impossible to
Don't
know
beat
exactly
your
what
children.
was supposed
Don't
to be,
cut off
quote,
the
unquote,
whiskers
in
of
that
cats.
book.
You know, come on.
So,
right.
You know.
Yep.
You
So,
don't have to be told these things.
In the next
You know.
chapter,
Exactly.
chapter
And it has
22,
nothing to
Yeah.
do with
Eliphaz
God.
starts off the
You
third and
know
final
how
round.
to behave properly.
Okay, yep.
Just do it. This
Just do
round
it.
can be seen as
Now we're
incomplete
gonna get
because
sued.
there is
God
no
damn it.
speech from Zophar in this round.
Oh. All right,
Okay?
that was
And the
Job
speech
chapter
by Bildad
25.
is very short. As we
And
recall,
tomorrow
it's only
is
6 verses
Saturday,
long.
and
Right.
Okay, I'll get
hypothetically,
more
if we
into
get our
that
shit
when
together,
Bildad
we were
comes
coming
up,
back
okay?
tomorrow
Yep.
with
So in the
Well,
first part of
Saturday
chapter
is
22,
Q&A.
verses 1 through 11,
Saturday.
followed up by
he
Sunday, which
discusses
this week
Job's
is just going to be
offenses.
a right.
Okay. So
And then we'll be
Eliphaz
back
opens
on,
his speech
uh,
with a
Monday?
Sunday
Oh, yeah, I'll do
severe
the weekly
tax
recap.
followed by a string
And
of
then
accusations.
on Monday,
Well,
we'll be
they
back
weren't even
with
specific
chapter
accusations
26.
that things
All right,
Job
we'll see you guys then.
did.
Yep,
Right.
He just is assuming,
He's
based
like,
on what I was hearing.
obviously you're evil. Obviously you're a son of a bitch.
Right.
And
And
obviously
here's
you're
the
bad.
things you must have done.
Right. So Eliphaz asserts that God does not punish Job because he is righteous, but because he must be unrighteous.
Right.
So I mean, that just goes along with what you said. He's just like, obviously you're bad.
And I think I commented on this at the time. There is some of this thought process in Christians of today.
Mm-hmm.
They assume that if something bad is happening to you, you must deserve it.
Obviously.
It's just a weird way to think about people and their downfall. And like,
Mhm.
wow, you just assume that this God is punishing people
Right.
and there is no redeeming them because they are bad in God's eyes.
Well, I mean, on a larger grand scale, they say that all of these school shootings are because we've taken prayer out of school.
Right, right.
And that's
No, they
clearly
the
wrong.
like they completely do away with empathy and lay it all on God.
Mhm.
Like you can't even have empathy for people because you just automatically assume that it's God's fault. No, it's not God's fault. That it's their fault for going against God.
Mhm.
So people that are religious, in my opinion, have so much less empathy
Yes.
than people who aren't because their default position is that they are assuming that that person was bad and wrong.
Right. Like, that's your karma. You got what you deserve.
Right. And
Yeah.
I just can't imagine living my life like that, thinking that everybody that was down on their luck is an evil and bad person.
Right.
Like that's such shit.
It is. It really is. And I don't get it either.
Yeah.
But it's a very convenient way of thinking.
Sure, you don't have to, worry about anything.
Right.
Great. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So the next section, chapter 22, verses 12 through 20, he talks about God's knowledge and power. So Eliphaz describes God's majesty to counter what he perceived as Job's claim of God as having limited knowledge and an inability to see through deep darkness, rendering God unable to judge properly. So I don't know if you recall, but Job was like laying it on and he was like saying, he's not doing this correctly. He clearly doesn't see that I'm an upstanding, like blameless. Like I don't,
Right.
I don't see how he could.
Yeah.
And Eliphaz is like, excuse you.
Right.
And so he's, going off on Job about that.
And I think I mentioned this too. Like there's so many things that are hard to deal with in this book, because technically, these guys are sitting there listening to Job basically tell them that God is wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
And so from their perspective, based on what they've been taught, they're in the right to say, oh no, Job.
Right.
You can't do that.
And even be offended by it, probably.
Yeah.
Like I get, in the context of the story, I get that reaction.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still like, I feel like this is where Christians in general, or religious people in general, should say, and I like the Christians sometimes that are like, it's not up to me to judge. I'm not, and if they truly believe it and live it,
mm-hmm.
then they're usually accepting of most people, and they are empathetic, and they are, like, they still have the good traits of good people,
mm-hmm.
right? But if you're not that person, you are you're the one of those horrible Christians, that judges people and
mm-hmm.
assumes that they are correct because God.
Exactly.
I fucking hate that mentality.
It's just so closed.
Yeah.
It's closed off, and it's convenient, and it's lazy.
Right.
In the next section of chapter 22, verses 21 through 30, he urges Job to repent. So Eliphaz outlines the ways for Job to return to God.
Yeah.
And his tidy analysis and advice are unfortunately based on a misdiagnosis of Job's situation, as we pointed out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got it wrong.
He
He's
does.
like, you've done wrong. Here's what you need to do. And the reader knows you are an arrogant fool, Eliphaz. And Job knows it, but he doesn't know why.
Right.
And that's the frustrating part.
Sure.
Because we as readers want to tell Job, no, you're right. You're right. And here's why. Here's what God is allowing to happen to you.
Yeah. Again, I have questions. The whole thing just brings up so many fucking questions.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But,
and what I just said is from the perspective of, if I'm reading this as a student, not as just somebody outside just reading it and going, what the fuck?
And we play quote unquote devil's advocate a lot in this
mm-hmm.
podcast, just to play the game and try to figure out what the meaning is behind some of this stuff. So,
well, because it's easy to just read it and go stupid. That would be just as lazy as a Christian going evil.
To be fair, we do that sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying that we don't, but I like to think that we add more to it by trying to understand where these people are coming from. Why do they think that? Why did they do that?
Right. I mean, I honestly want to question the Bible in a way that makes sense to not just me, but to other people. Like, I want people to get something from the questions that I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I'm making fun of it, I feel like the questions that I'm asking
are legitimate.
Yeah.
I mean, even toward that end, we have empathy, to use that word again, for Job's friends or the friends, whatever.
Sure.
For them thinking what they think.
Because in that context,
mm-hmm.
it's hard to believe what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, as their friends, it's hard, if they believe in God, and if God were real,
mm-hmm.
it's hard to believe that this is what is actually happening.
Sure. Toward that end, we can look at Fox News watching motherfuckers and have empathy. Like, even as we hate them and don't make excuses for them, we can have empathy and be like, I totally see how they turned out that way. They've been brainwashed. Why wouldn't they think what they're thinking?
No.
Why wouldn't they be scared? Why wouldn't they want to shoot people?
No, I think that's the important. You have to be able to look at things from outside of your little corner of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to step outside of yourself and see why this is happening versus just that it is happening.
Sure. Sure.
So
you can hate something but still understand the context of it.
Right.
So one doesn't preclude the other.
Yeah.
So moving on to chapter 23. In response to Eliphaz, Job starts by speaking to God indirectly as third person.
Right.
Although it is spoken toward his friends, before he addresses Eliphaz directly in chapter 24.
Okay.
And when he does that, he addresses Eliphaz on the issues raised in chapter 22.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first part of chapter 23, verses 1 through 7, he ponders litigation against God. Job revisits the possibility of legal action to get vindication. Like
Right.
he's trying to like be very methodical in his thinking. He's like laying out his case and saying, if I could just lay this case out before God, I'm sure everything would come straight and even and everything would make sense.
Right.
He does not intend to achieve victory in the case, but his ultimate goal is just to prove how righteous God's judgment is. So, and I didn't get this when we were reading it. He's saying, I don't want to make sense to God. I want God to make it make sense to me.
Okay.
So if I could just present this, then God would see it and be like, oh, I see why you think that, and break it down and explain it back to me.
Being that Job is
a
righteous man,
mm-hmm.
a godly man,
mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how I read it exactly.
No, I didn't read it that way either, but that's the research that I saw read it that way, and so I thought that was something to bring to the table.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
And Job is very confident because he believes in God and because he trusts and loves God. He is very confident that God will treat him justly as an impartial judge.
Right.
So, I mean, it hasn't even entered his head for a minute that he's being, according to this research, again, that's not the way I read it, but according to this research I did, he's not being treated unjustly. Job just doesn't understand
the
why.
Reasons. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like,
when he finds out.
Oh, yeah.
If he finds out.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I'd be fucking pissed.
I would be pissed too. I would be like, and all your credibility is shot.
Right. Yeah.
No grace from me, my good sir.
Yeah.
In the next section, verses 8 through 17, we go through his search for a terrifying God. He describes his search framed by the absence and then the presence of God. He believes God knows all of Job's ways and will complete the purpose of Job's life.
Okay.
And Job acknowledges, I had a really hard time with that, how terrified he would feel if he could finally achieve his wish of being in the presence of God. So he testifies that he is both longing and afraid of God.
Right.
Which makes sense. I mean, he's like, I totally want to see this motherfucker. But do I though? I mean, that's pretty fucking scary.
Well, I mean, you believe that he did this to your, like, this is the things that are happening to you are because of God. Mm-hmm. And I think I definitely said this earlier, but like, if these things happen to me, I'm going to be scared of whoever did that to me.
Right.
That's a terrifying motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. For now, you're still believing in his goodness.
Right.
So, ooh.
And you haven't met him before, so you should be scared, probably.
I think so.
Based on some of the things I've seen him do, I would be fucking terrified if I thought he was real.
The arbitrary bullshit God has pulled.
Right.
So moving on to chapter 24. In the first part, verses 1 through 12, he reflects on oppression. Okay? Mm-hmm. So Job, this is where he addresses the issue of the oppression of the poor that Eliphaz had raised in chapter 22. Okay? He asks about the times when the wicked are allowed to oppress and prosper without punishment, and then he gives a bunch of ample evidence to prove his case.
Right.
And I did not list all those because we read them at the time and we're like, I know, right?
Yeah.
Job concurs with Eliphaz that oppression exists, but questions why God does not act in judgment against the oppressors while listing the kind of actions and attitudes that Job regards as morally reprehensible.
Right.
So he's like, I agree with you that these things are there, but why is my question.
Yeah.
And it's not right.
Right.
The case that you're laying before me is X, Y, and Z. And I'm telling you that X, Y, and Z do not make your argument.
Right.
Like, I don't think that means what you think it means, kind of thing. So in the next section, verses 13 through 17, he talks about serious wrongdoing going on in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the more serious wrongdoings like murder, adultery, and stealing in the same order of appearance as the 10 Commandments, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And the key image here in this section is darkness and light, with a key implication that those who choose the paths of darkness are not caught or held to account.
Right.
Whereas God's light should expose them. Should being the key phrase.
Right.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. No, it's a hang up I've got.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
So the next section is verses 18 through 20, the fate of the wicked. Job knows that the wicked would be swallowed by Sheol or death so suddenly and completely that they would be utterly forgotten, as if they never existed.
Yeah, I remember them going over that. We were discussing how essentially everyone gets forgotten.
Right.
You know,
but
so
he's saying that only the evil and wicked do, and that the good will be remembered by their ancestors or by their descendants.
That's bullshit. Now, I mean, like, yes, okay, we still know about, hypothetically, if Job was a real person, we still know about Job, right? But that's even if he was or is or could have been a real person, the fact that we know about him is not anything but a history's fluke.
Okay, I'm going to push back on that just a little bit. I don't think he's talking about being remembered by history or by the world.
Okay.
He's specifically, I think, talking about being remembered by his children, his children's children, his descendants to come, like a family thing. And
Sure.
they did remember their descendants. You know
That's
what I mean?
true. They wrote down the names and they like
it
names.
was very important to them.
It was.
So
it was.
that's what he's saying. Removed from the record.
But let's say you get 2 generations beyond where you after you die, right? They might remember your name. They might know a story or two if you had some story to tell, but they don't know you.
No,
they don't remember you.
But his point is that your name will be among those that we
say out loud.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
not important to me and you. Well, obviously, we don't give a shit. We'll be dead, right?
Right, yeah.
But it was important to them. So to have their name erased like that meant something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like that's something that's important to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with that in my, like, I went through in my 20s, I went through a thing where I felt like I wanted to redefine myself and reevaluate myself, you know? And part of that was coming to grips with what death is and what your life is in general.
Who do you want to be as a person?
Who do I want to be as a person? And personally, I wanted to choose to be a good person that did things that I believe in. You know, like that's who I wanted to be, who I want to be. But I also decided that it has no bearing on my legacy. Like my legacy, I don't give a shit about my legacy. No one's going to remember me for opening a door for an old lady, right? No one's going to remember me for doing a small deed that is good for somebody else. But those are the things that I want to do. Those are the things that I feel good about myself for doing because I helped another person have their day be a little bit easier, right? Or, even like going to protests. I don't want to be the person running it, but I involved myself and did something to further a cause that I believe in. I'm not expecting stories to be told about it. I'm not expecting to be some famous person for it, but it is something I chose to do and wanted to do. I don't know where I was going with all that. But
I get what you're saying. You want to be a good person regardless of what your legacy is. And that makes total sense. But they were very concerned with their legacy because, they had the punishment upon them passed down to future generations. So the line went forward and backward.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why it would have been a very big threat to them.
You don't want those great grandkids 7 generations from now cursing your name because you fucked up.
Right. I mean, that mattered.
Right.
So to have their name completely erased, that was a big punishment.
Right. Yep.
Like, it would be, here's a very small, silly equivalence, okay? Sure. My mom would ground me to my room if I misbehaved. I didn't give 2 shits if I got grounded to my room because I would just lay in my bed and read.
Right.
Now, eventually, which I'm a big reader. That's how I pass my time. That's what I do. I love books. I love the written word,
right,
etc. Okay. When my mom finally caught on that I didn't give a shit about being grounded to my room, she grounded me from my books.
Right. Which was
that was huge to me.
Right.
To somebody else who's not a reader, to my sister, for example, my sister wanted to play with toys.
Yeah.
So grounding my sister from books, that would not be a good threat because who gives a shit?
Right, right.
So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, the fact that these people felt that having their name remembered was big, it doesn't matter to us, but that doesn't make it any less important to them.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Okay. So moving on, the next section of chapter 24, verses 18 through 20, the fate of the wicked.
Okay. Yep.
Job knows that the wicked would... Oh, we just read that. I'm sorry. They'd be swallowed and forgotten.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay. The next one is verses 21 through 24, the prospering of the wicked. However, before that happens, before their names get forgotten, God seems to preserve and prolong the lives of such wicked who wrongfully treat childless women and widows, and God even seems to give them security and protection.
Yeah.
And Job challenges his friends to prove him wrong about the examples he has given.
Right.
Which I didn't pick up on that. But he's like sitting at his, lemonade table stand and has a sign out front that says "Prove me wrong."
Right, right.
Like, I didn't pick up on that, but he does. And then the next section is verses 24 and 20. Let me try that one more time. The next section of chapter 24 is verse 25.
Okay.
A final challenge to the friends.
Okay.
Okay. Job dares his friends to disprove his argument that there is observable injustice in the world, but God will eventually balance the scales of justice. And significantly of note, none of the three friends takes up Job's challenge. None of them argues with him on that point.
Well, it's probably fairly obvious.
Yeah. So I didn't catch that the first time around, that he made the challenge. More so even did not catch that they didn't even pick up his challenge either.
Right, right.
So the next chapter, chapter 25, this one is Bildad, and this is the one that is only 6 verses. And this is where we reach the fun bit.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
It only has 6 verses, but it is not the shortest chapter in the Bible.
Well, that's okay.
Okay?
Yeah, all right.
Consisting of only 2 verses, Palm. I'm so sorry. Psalm 117, shut up, is the shortest psalm and also the shortest chapter in the whole Bible.
Wow.
2 verses.
Wow.
Okay?
We'll have to figure, that's going to be a short...
we're going to have to come up with a different system for psalms, which I have said before. Yeah. Because a lot of them are only like a little
start
paragraph.
Doing like 3 or 4 at a time or something like that.
I'm thinking probably 3 at a time.
Right.
Just to not have short, stupid episodes.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not sure what we're going to do with Psalms. And they're not stories.
I think so we might have to we might even have to build in like our Q&As into those episodes too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to
talk about each one, because they don't talk about a cohesive story. Each one is just like a prayer or like he is so great or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So we're just gonna have to change it up.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after that 2 verses, the next shortest one, which I don't even recall this, was Esther chapter 10.
Okay.
Had 3 verses.
Oh wow.
I don't remember that. Do you?
No.
Okay, the next one, also with 3 verses, are several Psalms. I won't read out the numbers because who cares? And then with 4 verses or 5 verses are more Psalms. And then there's a chapter in Jeremiah, another chapter in Hosea, which each have 5 verses.
Okay.
Okay. And then Job chapter 25 and several Psalms have 6 verses.
Got it.
So we were so like blown away by this as only having 6 verses.
Yeah.
It does not stand alone. It's not even impressive.
Got it.
And we've already passed one before this that was like shorter. The second to the shortest.
Right, right.
So I kind of feel like, oh, my bad. Nothing. It's kind of like if you like hit a big pothole and then you're like...
Maybe it was like more of a run-on sentence or something.
Yes. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, it's kind of like if you like hit a huge pothole and it like fucks up your tire and you're like, that hole is so deep. And then you go see the Grand Canyon and you're like, oh, that hole was nothing.
Yeah.
So, okay, here we are in chapter 25.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clearly, Bildad has little to say. And he runs out of steam before he and the other two friends, Eliphaz and Zophar, trail off into silence.
Okay. Yep.
So they're done talking. The dialogue between Job and his three friends is practically over, with neither Job nor the friends getting closer in their positions to each other. Like,
right.
It's kind of like us talking to a Republican. Nobody's going to convince the other.
Right, right.
Like, it's kind of pointless almost.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Bildad's strong belief in the retribution theology, you got what you deserved.
Yeah.
And if you are being punished this bad, whatever you did must have been equally bad.
Right.
Okay. That makes him believe that humans are worthless and contemptible before the transcendent God who establishes order and peace in heaven. Like, remember, he was like, humans suck.
Right.
Before God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bildad misconstrues God as viewing humans with utter revulsion, as just maggots and worms.
Yeah.
Remember?
I do.
And this speech adds little because it seems like a mechanical repetition of what Eliphaz already said in his first two speeches, that no one is righteous before God and that Job has accepted that he is a sinner, only that Job still questions his sufferings compared to other sinners.
Right.
So it's like they kind of have reached an impasse.
Yeah.
And
there's only so much you can say about this.
Right. So. Like, you don't even agree on the basic tenets.
Right.
If we were talking to a Republican at this point, like, we don't even agree on what climate change is.
Didn't we make some comment on either the last episode or the one before it, about how they're just stretching for word count at this point?
Yes.
This feels like they're just like going on about the same shit over and over.
And it's like it finally came to a head in Bildad, and he's like, I just got this to say.
Right.
People suck. That's all.
Right.
So that is the Q&A. That's what I brought to the table.
I thought you were going to tell me when the fun part was. Was it the...
I did, and I said, this is the fun part.
Oh, man. I must have not really listened to that.
You do
apparently.
blow me off quite a bit.
I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
So was that the short things?
Yeah.
The short things. Got it. I thought that might have been it, but
I did say.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did.
Bit.
I'm bad. I'm wrong. I fucked it up. Yeah. All that stuff.
Okay. You're ugly.
No, whatever.
Okay. You're like Job and wish you'd never been born.
No.
No,
I'm not.
Too far.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So that you were saying that was the Q&A.
That's the Q&A. I don't feel like we had a specific question, and I don't feel like I answered it other than our comment.
No, but I
that
feel
was
like
short.
I learned a lot there. So.
I did learn a lot. I'm glad I did a summary.
Yeah. No, that was good. I appreciated that.
Yeah, me too. So
all
now
right.
we're
Hopefully you guys did
caught
too.
Up. Oh yeah, I really hope that anybody else who was taking our interpretation stuck around for this Q&A, so that there were places where I do think we got it wrong.
Yeah, no, and that's why we do these now, because we feel like this is very helpful for us to understand what we just read.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I actually think our Q&As are one of my favorite things we do now.
I agree. So. Completely.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was it for today. Tomorrow is Sunday, and we'll be back with a
Patreon.
Right.
I need to come up with a jingle for that.
Right? Yeah.
I keep saying that.
That's like one of the only things we don't have a little jingle for.
I need a jingle.
Yeah.
Jingle,
I'll have to think about that.
I'm the king of dingling. Okay. What?
Anyway.
Right.
So, and then I'll be getting the weekly replay done also on Sunday. And then we'll be back on Monday with
Job chapter 26.
All right. We'll see you guys then.
Yep. Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you know what we're doing today?
Well, it's Sunday and we're not doing a book club.
That's true. And I don't have a jingle for it, but we are doing a Patreon episode.
Yeah, we're doing a Patreon episode.
Yes.
So what are we doing our Patreon episode over today?
Well, I thought we would talk a little bit more about the 10 Commandments and Noah's laws and the 7 deadly sins. And there's some sins that cry out to God. And I didn't know sins could do that.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's also some 7 virtues. There's a whole bunch of lists of things.
So like kind of a continuation of what we were talked about on the last Patreon episode?
I think so.
Okay. Somewhat, maybe,
Somewhat.
sort of.
And it might cover a little bit, but from a different angle. Like it might overlap a little bit, but not overly much.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can listen to a little bit of this episode by going to Patreon and listening to the preview. But otherwise, if you want to listen to the whole thing, you'll need to subscribe at patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse. And you can sign up for as low as $2 a month and become a Patreon member and, be really cool and listen to these episodes like, our patrons.
Yes. And I'm sorry for you if you are missing out on this because this is some really cool stuff.
Yeah. So go do that now.
It's one of our rabbit holes, and you guys love our rabbit holes.
Right. We think.
You do.
Oh, they do.
They do.
You do.
Obviously.
All right, let's go down it.
Okay. Okay, so remember when we went over the 7 laws of Noah or Noah's 7 laws or whatever?
Yeah.
And some of them coincided with the 10 Commandments, but we weren't sure exactly which ones because the 10 Commandments weren't really fresh in our minds.
Sure.
So I thought we'd reiterate that a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So the 10 Commandments are also referred to as the 10 sayings, the 10 matters, the 10 utterances, the Decalogue.
Never heard any of those.
Well, they are apparently things that exist.
Got it.
Okay. The first one is, I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt have no strange gods before me. But normal ones are perfectly okay. And that was one of Noah's laws. Do not associate with other gods.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Number 2 was, thou shalt not create false idols.
Right.
And that also was one. Follow God's path and not any other.
But the ones I make are true.
Right.
They're true idols,
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Not false ones.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3 was, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord in vain, which again was one of Noah's. Fulfill your covenant with God. Okay.
Okay.
Number 4 was, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. And that was one of Noah's. Give full measure and weight the justice.
Okay.
Which I don't really think that that's totally the same, but those, according to people that know things,
say they are.
They say they are.
Okay.
Okay. Number 5 is honor thy father and thy mother, which Noah translated or whatever to honor your parents.
Got it.
Okay. Number 6 was thou shalt not kill.
Right.
And that equals 2 of Noah's, which were, do not kill your children for fear of poverty and do not take a life except justly.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
but you can do it justly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I mean, in self-defense or, other things.
I got it.
Okay. 7 and 8, Noah does not have an equivalent law. Okay.
Okay.
Thou shalt not commit adultery and thou shalt not steal.
Got it.
Okay. So you probably shouldn't do those, but it's not going to piss off Noah.
Sure.
Number 9, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. And again, 2 of Noah's laws kind of go along with this.
Okay.
Do not come near the property of the orphan except to enhance it. And whenever you testify, maintain justice even regarding a close relative.
Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 10, covet not thy neighbor's wife. And Noah's law was, do not come near indecencies openly or secretly.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, the 2 others of Noah's laws that were not listed above were, thou shalt not eat flesh torn from a living animal.
Right.
And I looked that one up. And guess what?
What?
They meant literally an animal that's still alive and moving. Don't take a bite out of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because people do that. Now, there are some cultures that do eat seafood or octopi, octopuses.
Yeah.
While they're still alive.
Sure.
So they're kind of breaking that rule. But there are also crazy people, literal crazy people.
Yeah.
And I know we're not supposed to use that word for the mentally insane ?
Right, but if you just go take a bite out of an animal.
There was a guy that was in the news for being hopped up on both PCP and cocaine who took a bite out of his dog's ear and then was running around town with the blood gushing from his mouth until he was finally arrested.
Wow.
He was running around the streets in his underwear.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
So he definitely broke Noah's law there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one was to establish courts of justice. So,
okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Just a reminder, the 7 Laws of Noah were also...
Oh no, what happened?
Well, this is a special Patreon episode, actually. Which means that they need to go to Patreon and subscribe as a patron in order to listen to it.
Okay, well, I guess that we are going to go do that now.
Yeah, just head over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse, become a member for as low as $2 a month, and you'll have access to all these special things and goodies too. So, go do that.
So this was just a teaser.
Yeah, teaser.
Okay, just
Bye.
checking.
Okay,
Bye.
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 Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
I'm Katie Aubin, producer at Tasty and a holder of extremely strong food opinions.
And I'm Jasmine Pack. I'm a Tasty creator who also has extremely strong food opinions.
And we're friends. We love food, and we're hosting a new podcast for Tasty called Bite Club.
Bite Club is a conversation show about the snacks, treats, and bites that make us who we are.
Each week on Bite Club, we take a food topic and put together a totally definitive list of our rankings of that food.
The list is our opinion only, but on this podcast, our opinion is the only one that matters.
We'll be sharing our tasty tips, playing food games, and having a dialogue on all things delicious.
Make sure to check out Bite Club every week wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.